Hi, I'm Skilla, and this is Nerd Stuff with Skilla. Today I will be talking about the third episode of Fox's The Gifted, a mutant-centric comic book TV show that we are getting. The third episode is called Exodus, and a lot of different crazy things happen in this episode. This video will contain spoilers for the first 3 episodes of The Gifted. We start the episode with a flashback to 3 years before our current timeline, and in this flashback, Polaris and Eclipse are kind of walking around the grounds of the mansion. Clearly they haven't known each other for a super long amount of time. It's like she's giving him a tour, kind of. And she's trying to show him the beauty of having mutant abilities. So she shows him that she's taught herself how to fly using her magnetism abilities and wearing things that will allow her to manipulate her wardrobe into giving her the gift of flight. And then Eclipse is like, oh, I can do this stupid thing. And he picks up some glass. He blasts some photons through it and it makes this gorgeous pattern all over the place. And it looks really cool. And then they have this like just disgustingly adorable scene where like they hold hands and the photons meeting the magnetism creates the northern lights around their hands and then their bodies as they kiss, and it's adorable. And I just ate it right up. Nom nom nom. It was great. Jace Turner has shown up at Polaris' cell. He's like, hey, I know where the Mutant Underground is. And I know that your baby daddy Eclipse is in cahoots with them, and I'm totally gonna go jack him up and then the Mutant Underground, and if you don't comply with me, things are gonna be a lot worse for you and Eclipse. And Polaris doesn't really give him an answer one way or the other, I guess, but it's implied that she's not going to go along with his plans. Later on in the episode, Polaris fights through the pain in her collar to blast the door off of her cell, and I feel like there's got to be something metal in her collar. I mean, I guess it doesn't have to be, but I never even saw her try to, like, remove it in that way. And if she can blast something off, like a door off its hinges, I feel like if there's anything magnetic inside of this electronic device, she should be able to do something with it. I don't think that that's how she's going to escape. I think that she'll probably fight through the pain to blast a hole in the gates or something, and then Blink will show up just in time to pop right out of there. Blink, who now has these marks on her face, is having trouble creating her portals, and Thunderbird's trying to train her on how to use her emotions to create her mutant ability, since that's kind of a thematic consistency throughout all mutant related stuff. And then Dreamer's like trying to tell him that she can just like mess with their memory and be like, I'll just make her think that Polaris is her best friend and she's got to open a portal to help her. And then everyone's like, no, it's a terrible idea, don't do that. But later on in the episode, instead of them helping Polaris with Blink's ability via Dreamer inducting new memories into her, Dreamer puts the memory into Blink's head that her and Thunderbird are in love, or then that makes Blink have to save Thunderbird from imminent danger. And Thunderbird's not happy about that at all. And I do think that Blink and Thunderbird probably will have something going on at some point in the future. They do seem to have a lot of chemistry with each other. It does seem like it's kind of leading us down that path. We also find out during that scene that Dreamer and Thunderbird have had a romantic relationship at some point. And clearly it didn't end well, but not so badly that they never talked to each other again, so that's nice. Vampire Bill agrees to wear a tracking anklet to go to the Mutant Underground, and he goes to the Texas bar, which, you know, he meets up with the Invisible Man. Tex, I think, is his name, but I don't know for sure. And he has a confrontation with him, but Tex eventually lets him down into his basement to hang out with this woman and her daughter, and the woman has the ability to make you stop feeling pain. Reed starts having kind of a change of heart, and eventually he's in the van with them all, going to the mansion. And he tells the driver, he's like, hey, you're being followed by these dudes, and he does a barrel roll right out of there. Then Jace confronts him because the entire van disappears with Tex and the mom and daughter. Jace is like, what about our deal? And then Reed's all, you can take that deal and stick it right up your ass, Sookie. He takes him back into custody, and I think that him and Polaris are being transferred to a different mutant facility. It's kind of implied that that's happening at the end of the episode. He says something like, him and a mutant are being taken somewhere, but we don't know if that's Polaris, but it's probably Polaris. It also could be that the other facility that they're being taken to is where Dr. Campbell works, since him and Jace have a conversation within the episode where Campbell asks Jace if he could help him get his hands on the Strucker kids, and he's like, no, we don't really do that. And, you know, he could have had a change of heart after Reed pulled the whole barrel roll out of the van thing. Meanwhile, Caitlin, Andy, and Lauren sneak out of the mansion and they go to visit Uncle Andy. He doesn't give them any help through his many connections. He lives in Buckhead, which is a really nice part of Atlanta. He works He like goes golfing with all of these influential people and stuff, and he offers them money but doesn't really help in any other way. Now while all that's going on, Andy and Lauren are hanging out with his son Scott. Lauren's looking on Instagram and she sees a post from her ex-boyfriend, whose Instagram handle is Jack_2_the_future, which is an actual Instagram handle which you can go and look up, and it has 9 followers. He's got like 5, but it's private. You can like it and whatever, and maybe he'll let you follow him. I don't know who's in control of that social media page, but it's going to be interesting to see if they do anything with it. She sees this picture of him, a picture that he's put on his Instagram of 2 other kids they went to school with in front of the Strucker house, and they've spray painted "Beware of the Muties" on there, which is jacked up, and they're all emotional, and Andy like has this little fit, and he breaks a trophy of Scott's, and then Scott takes a picture of that trophy and he sends it to his friend, who shows it to his dad, who brings a mob over to Uncle Danny's house. Now Uncle Danny goes out and tries to calm everybody down while Thunderbird and Eclipse are inside, trying to figure out how they're going to get the Strucker family out of there. And Andy gets all pissed off and he blows the doors off of the house, and then Eclipse has to disarm a dude with a gun, and they all get away in a car, but they're being chased by the mob in their own vehicles, shooting guns at them. And Blink, this is where Blink comes back in with her power and portals them the F out of there. You know, we get some shades of Andy being a supervillain in this episode. His first idea when they didn't know how they were going to get to Uncle Danny's house was to rob a bank. And Lauren and Caitlin have to be like, no, we're not going to rob a bank. So he just sends a burst of energy and knocks over all of these parking meters, and they have to gather up the change to go and get a cab across town, which I believe in Atlanta cab driver culture is considered a dick move. Paying for a ride across town with pocket change, that blows. Don't be a dick. That's pretty much it for this episode. What makes this show pretty good in comparison to some other shows that are on right now? You can watch my other videos if you want to know how I feel about that other show that's on right now, is that we actually get to see the characters using their freaking abilities. It's great. Even if the graphics aren't fantastic, I get to see Dreamer spout out her little dusty shit. I get to see Polaris use the things on her hands, and Blink do the same thing when she opens a portal. It's so cool to see superheroes doing super stuff. I can't express that enough. I'm so excited about it. And I really shouldn't be. There's no reason for it other than that the comparison between this show and Inhumans is not something I can ignore because they're coming out at the same time. I'm happy about that. The characters are developing well. We know now that Jace has a wife and that he seems to care about her. And I think that's really nice. I think that's cool that we get to know that he actually has somebody in his life that he cares about. We get to see the different sides of Vampire Bill Reed, who's at first would do anything to help his family, but then realizes that if it's going to harm another family, that he probably shouldn't do that. And that is character depth, and that is nice to see in a TV show. We're getting snippets of different mutants as we go along. We saw Shatter in this episode, and I don't think we've seen him before, and he looks really sick. I'm really excited to see him get used. We get to see more of the social pressure that's going on against the mutants, which is really good to see because I know that they're going to do a lot more social commentary in this series, and it's really exciting. I'm pumped to see the next episode, and that is a great feeling to have. I'm so happy that there's a show on right now. I mean, I love American Horror Story, and I'm excited about it every week, but I'm glad that this show exists now that I can be excited about every week too. Give me a big thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Comment down below if you have any theories on what's going to happen in next week. It looks like it's going to be super intense. I'm looking at it as though it's a siege. Like, all of our mutants are going in to try and save Polaris, and things get hairy. And I think it's going to be great. Leave a comment down below with what you think is going to happen. Make sure to subscribe if you want to hear about more nerdy stuff from me. And as always, thank you so much for watching.